Israel, let's face Jerusalem. Send up prayers. Men of Israel, blow trumpets. Trumpets down.
Have mercy upon us, O Lord God of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee. Lift up thy hand against the strange nations, and let them see thy power. As thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. And let them know thee, as we have known thee, that there is no God but only thou, O God. Show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Make the time short. Remember the covenant, and let them declare thy wonderful works.
Heavenly Father, we thank you, we praise you as we come before you on this Sabbath day, a day of rest. Father, your people come before you with uplifted hands, crying out before you, Lord, because we know in you we live and we move and we have our very being. Heavenly Father, we ask you to be merciful toward the house of Israel and forgive us of our sin. We know that thou art long-suffering, thou art very pitiful, thou art full of compassion. Oh, Lord, we thank you for this day that we came before you. So now, oh, Lord, look among us, Father, touch and heal thy people. Our people need a touch, our people need healings. And so, Father, we know in you all things are possible to them that believe. So now, Father, we come to worship you in spirit and truth, and we ask that you remember those, Father, that you have raised up. Thank you for our bishops. Thank you for our deacons. Thank you for our captains. Thank you for the soldiers. Thank you for the officers and the brothers. Thank you for the sisters. Thank you for the work that's going forth that we established in the house of Israel. For that, we're going to always give you praise, and we thank you for what you're doing in the midst. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We give you praise. With that, we would say, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we give our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. With that, let the people say, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Amen.
Men of Israel, sons of God, patient saints, sons of God, hand salute, salute down, face sisters. To the honorable daughters of Sarah, we say shalom.
All praise to the Most High. We're going to get right into it. First of all, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High for sending his son, Jesus Christ. We can never say that enough. And I say that particularly not as just humdrum, not as just sayings. It is the real deal, because we are in the hands of our enemies, and we are surrounded by hatred. We are surrounded by those who wish evil imaginations upon all of us, okay? And not only are the nations at odds with us because they don't want to see Israel rise, but also our people who have the mindset of our enemies don't want us to rise either. So we need blessings and guidance from the Lord to steer us through all of this evil, because we have a whole lot of it in front of us. Y'all all right? Again, I want to give thanks and glory to the Most High for how he has caused us at IUIC to organize our classes, to organize how we operate, how we function. This is of divine intervention from God. Had it not been for God, we'd be Negroes that just ran out of the laboratory of America and just became what you see out there on social media. So it is definitely the Lord's intervention that brought us to a sense of organization, that brought us to a sense of righteousness, a pillar to set in order the people, okay? And particularly when I speak about this order, I want to give thanks to the Most High for allowing us, particularly on the Sabbath, how we have the Sabbath lineup. You got the captains, that taught, I think Captain Gideon taught earlier this morning. Then we had Deacon Malachi that was just teaching. Excellent material. And this is stuff to build our bodies up, to build our minds up, to seal us up. And our enemies hate that. And so we basically talk about the whole Sabbath day covered in righteousness. Could you imagine where our people would be if it was not for what we're doing? Where would the people be? Sinning and creating all kinds of evil, fornication, murder, you name it, our people be doing it. And the world loves that. And they hate what's happening here. So again, I want to congratulate all of the brothers and the sisters who are tenacious in making sure that this truth continues to be in the right form. Okay, and I particularly want to thank the teachers of whom I spoke of earlier who taught the whole day. And we do this 7 days a week, minimum 3 times a day. So this is hard work, and our enemies don't want us to do any of it. Just think about it. They want to pluck up the whole root. They don't want to hear nothing. Could you imagine where our people would be if we were not here doing? I'm just talking about IUIC. I ain't even talking about the other groups. If you just removed IUIC, could you imagine the evil, the surplus of evil that would be out here? Just think about that. Where would our daughters be? Where would our young women be? Where would the mothers be? Where would the fathers be? Just something to think about. Y'all all right? I'm going to get right into it. The name of my class today is The Declaration of War, Yet Not Declared. Somebody said, what kind of title is that? How could you say that there's a declaration of war, but yet this war is not declared? And many of your minds are probably thinking about Ukraine, Russia, Putin, and all that. No. There's plenty of that news on social media, TV, and the newspapers and all that. I'm talking about a war that's more important than that. Because all of the wars that are taking place on this earth has everything to do with you. The biggest war that's going on this planet Earth is about keeping us dominated in sin and evil. That's what the war is really about. So although they have declared war on us, they haven't told us that they hate us. They haven't told us in straight, plain language that they're trying to destroy us. Yet we're thinking that these people are our friends, when their absolute agenda is to destroy every last one of us. Okay? So although they haven't said it, they are actually doing it, and doing it hard. And we're going to show you that. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. I'm going to go to my first article, okay, because what we must do, we must keep the reality alive in our minds and in our actions. The reality is what we actually see, and don't dismiss it. When we go to church, church is basically, what was that drug that they give you? Methadone. To ease you into suffering. Just make you comfortable with it. That's basically what church is. But in reality, everybody in the church is suffering in their spirit. When you can't even speak as a man to acknowledge what's written in the Bible. The Bible says Jesus Christ is a black man, and all of a sudden your lips are melted together. You can't speak it. In spirit, you can't say it because you're worrying about offending the oppressor. You can't even speak like a man. So that's what Christianity do. Nullifies your senses. Nullifies your ability to see reality the way it really is. Okay, let's get right into it. So just hold that point. We'll go right into my article. Yes, the scriptures is coming. You know that. Put it up there. A New York teacher made black students act as slaves in a mock auction. Now, I don't think this is really new. This is going back. But this fear, if you will, I won't even really call it trauma. Because I know people say, why you won't call it trauma? In a sense, it's trauma, so I won't totally dismiss it. But this is misleading, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. He's saying some bold statements up there. We're going to get you if you telling us that not to pay attention to things like this. Read it. Come on. Let me say it again. A New York teacher made black students act as slaves in mock auction. So you would see a headline like that, and it's by CNN News. You would see a headline like that, and you'd be outraged. You'd be upset. Naturally so. So I'm not trying to take that away because I know everybody's still trying to figure out where I'm going with this. When the news media puts something out, they want your attention. They want to steer your direction into this. How come they didn't put, CNN says we found out that Jesus Christ is black, for instance? You ain't going to see that kind of headline. You're not going to see a headline that says, you know what, the Bible says that the Israelites was brought into captivity on slave ships. You're not going to see that. You dig it? So what is the message? What is the hidden message? What is the hidden war that is not yet declared but is actually happening? What's going on here? Let's read in some of this article. Come on, Officer Nishan. Let's get that thing.
Yes, sir. CNN, a New York teacher singled out African-American students.
Singled out African-American students. Look at these words like we really care. Oh, they shouldn't have did that. They should not have discriminated against you and singled you out. They should not have done that. Bad on them. Read.
A New York teacher singled out African-American students and cast them as slaves in a mock auction.
How terrible. Go ahead.
As part of a...
And I know, again, while I'm putting these little interjections of these statements and expressions, people are saying, what is wrong with this man? Why is he not grieving with us? I am grieving with you, but I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be moved by a strike in the west and then you hit me in the head in the east. Read.
A New York teacher singled out African-American students and cast them as slaves in a mock auction as part of
a mock auction as part of a what?
Social studies lesson in March.
So they did this. They said this is a social studies lesson, and we're going to actually use you as a slaves because this is mocking of actual history. So this is not made up. Go ahead.
An investigation by the New York Attorney General's office.
So they had to do an investigation because of this. Go ahead.
Found that the reenactment had a profoundly negative effect on all of the students present.
It had a profoundly negative effect on all the students present. The negative effect is that the reality showed them. Now, forget about the racist intent of the teachers. I'm talking about the actual thing itself. What's happening with these kinds of mock situations is that it's actually reaffirming that we were the ones that was put on the auction blocks. And we don't want to remember that. We don't want to have any association with that. We've been conditioned to try to ignore that. Y'all might see where I'm going. We've been conditioned to try to repress it and not acknowledge it. Yes, this is wicked as hell, but understand the hidden war behind this. Read on.
Especially the African-American students.
Because when the whole so-called white folks get upset, the black folks is looking and say, even a white man is upset. We definitely don't want this. Because when those things happen, emotions really come up. When you were actually being portraying actual slavery. Okay, I'm gonna make this one point, and I remember hearing about when the movie Amistad was made, and then they had the brothers, you know, the Amistad with the ship, when our brothers that was on the ship, when they was to commandeer the ship and try to take it back to Africa. The what's his name? Steven Spielberg movie. Okay, there's a lot of good visuals in there in terms of some of the ugliness that happened to us while we was on those ships. Y'all all right? The chains and the things that the actors had to wear. And they said because when they put these things on and was going through the motions of acting, it brought tears because they were able to identify with the actual history. People wept like the sister Joy the group. I think she was the one that was illuminating this. She said that the people wept off cue. They weren't even told to cry. They were crying because of the realism of them feeling the real emotions of what it must have really been like. And the black people for definitely going to feel it. So we realize that things like this actually brings back the pain, brings back the reality, brings back the history into us so that we will never forget. So-called white man ain't forgetting. He called himself a Jew with that 6 million stuff. He, quote unquote, remembers that stuff all the time. So-called. And the whole point is never again But how would you maintain a never again posture? Is by you remembering the horrors that you went through. Well, if you're trying to make us forget it, you can make us do anything. People that don't know their past and have no control of their future, you just become a Negro ready for immediate consumption. Perfect consumer. Y'all all right? Read on.
Every young person, regardless of race, deserves the chance to attend school free of harassment, bias, and
so to bring up your history is harassment. Now I know I get the point about them doing it for the sake of making the children feel bad and feel inferior. I get that. And I resonate with our people on that. But there's a bigger agenda behind it. They don't give a damn about you resonating with it or not. Y'all follow me? Yes, sir. Read. Read that statement again.
Every young person, regardless of race, deserves the chance to attend school free of harassment.
Like they really care about us being not being harassed. Go ahead.
Bias.
Bias, like they really care about biases against us.
And discrimination.
And discrimination. Like they really care about discrimination. Whose land is this we on? The so-called North American Indians. So if you want to talk about justice and judgment and righteousness and not being biased and free from harassment, then let Gad come out of the bathroom of his own house and live on his whole property, live in his whole house. This is trickery. Read on.
Attorney General Lieta.
Read it again. Attorney General what?
Every young person, regardless of race, deserves the chance to attend school free of harassment, bias, and discrimination. Attorney General
Letitia James said in a statement. Read on.
Lessons designed to separate children on the bias of race.
On the basis
of race.
Lessons designed to separate children on the basis of race, listen,
have no place in New York classrooms.
Oh, isn't that adorable? They really feel like this? Are you kidding me? No. What is the underlying war behind this? The underlying war is to get our black and Hispanic people to disassociate themselves with the Bible. Because these things that you're reading here of what they're doing, these peon white teachers are doing this, they're not even keen to realize that they're going against the bigger plans of America. I know I've lost a lot of people by what I said, but one of the greatest fears that our black people have, I'll just say the Negro particularly, is when events like this happen, we get a particular fear and a phobia of thinking that, you know what, the white man might one day put us in physical chattel slavery. And you're making us act like it, and they might like what they see, and they might just stop letting us be free and put us in chains. So we're afraid of any kind of semblance that suggests that kind of thought in this country. Let me say something to cause all of you to relax in concerning that statement. That will never happen again. Not merely because, or not solely because the Lord is not going to allow it, because from here we go into the kingdom. That's not the reason. That's not the reason that I'm speaking about now. The reason why they're not coming with chains and all of that with us is because slavery cost them more than you being free. They would actually lose money by putting you in chains. They would actually lose money. So-called Abraham Lincoln with the Emancipation Proclamation was not about freeing you Negroes. A lot of people heard it was about saving the Union, but the bigger thing it was because it cost too much damn money. You got to take care of the slave. You can actually let him work a job and let him take care of himself. That's billions of dollars. So believe me, we're not going back to this because the main white folks don't want it to go this way. I'm talking about if God was to leave things to be, because God is in control of all of this. But I'm just saying, in terms of their thinking, white folks, the peon people are the ones that's doing these things in the schools. The peon teachers and all that, they don't really pay them any money. But the big bankers, The rulers of this earth, they know damn well they're making so much money off of the ignorance of our people. They say, well, ain't no way in the hell we letting this thing go back, and then we're going to have to pay for their health. We got to have to pay for their shelter. We got to pay for this, pay for that. We ain't going to. No. Let them work our jobs for minimum wage, and they'll take care of their own, and we'll make the money that way. Plus, their minds are so destroyed, they will be the perfect consumer and give all their money back to us. How much money we give per year? $2 point something trillion. They're not letting that kind of money go. You know how much of that they would have to take away to take care of you in a slave quarter? To take care of you, to make sure that you can pick up that hay? To make sure your health benefits are covered? To make sure that you have shelter? The birth costs, nursing your babies? The white man has to pay money for his slaves, if you can understand what I'm saying. He's not going back to that. So he's telling the peon white folks, y'all shut the hell up, because y'all don't know nothing. Y'all all right? They want to get us away from this truth. Read.
Lessons designed to separate children on the basis of race have no place in New York classrooms or in classrooms throughout the country. The incident happened in 2 fifth-grade social studies classes at the Chapel School, a private school in Westchester County, about 15 miles north of Midtown Manhattan.
All right, jump down to imaginary chains.
Imaginary chains. A teacher asked all the African-American students in each class to raise their hands and then instructed them to go stand in the hallway.
Go ahead.
Where the teacher placed imaginary chains on their necks, wrists, and ankles.
Bam! Give me Deuteronomy, man. We got to get the Bible in there now. This is what they're trying to. So then when they did this, they said, shame on you, teacher. You should not have done that. The real language is, you reminded the niggas of their Bible. That's what they're really saying. Deuteronomy 28:48.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48.
And you see all these campaigns trying to get rid of, with these bums, this so-called vocab and the rest of these demons, apologetics, Christian Negroes, evil black women. All of that team is trying to destroy this Bible. That's the real war. I ain't worrying about what's going on over there in Ukraine. Come on, read.
Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
Therefore shall thou, meaning you, who's the you? The Israelites, like Deuteronomy 1:1 says. Therefore shall thou, you, serve your enemies, come on.
In hunger.
In hunger.
And in thirst.
And in thirst.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness.
And the want of all things.
That's Amistad. That's what you saw in that movie. But if the people have been told that that has no connection to the Bible, they're okay with that. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Now let's go back to the article. He shall put a yoke of iron upon the neck of the Israelites until he have destroyed their minds to the point where we are now. Totally destroyed and evil, and we imagine evil, wicked imaginations against each other. Read that statement again about the chains.
Imaginary chains.
Imaginary chains. Come on.
A teacher asked all the African-American students in each class to raise their hands and then instructed them to go stand in the hallway, where the teacher placed imaginary chains on their necks, wrists, and ankles.
Go ahead.
Those students were then instructed to walk back into the classroom and line up against the wall.
Read on.
The teacher then proceeded to conduct a simulated auction of the students in front of the rest of the class.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen with the yokes of iron upon your neck. So don't think that the bastards that put this thing together really care about your children. The reason why they did this is the reason why they acted like they're against it is because they want you with your dumb selves to follow them, to hate your own history, to try to disassociate with your own history. And once they do that, you will put the Bible down and become a Negro 100 times over. Read that again.
The teacher then proceeded to conduct a simulated auction of the students in front of the rest of the class.
Give me the Bible. I don't need no more of this. Give me the Bible. Deuteronomy. Let's read 28, 48, then give me 68.
Yes, sir.
That's what you just read is what the reporter and all of the media is trying to get our people away from. But some of these peon teachers, white folks, some of these peons that don't know the real plans, they dumb as hell. These low-minded peon white folks, they dumb as hell. They don't know anything about their system. So they're really like, come on, nigger. Yeah, and that's their get up. They like that thing. You dig it? Not even realizing that the white man that's running the whole system don't give a piss about them either. Okay, read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies.
Therefore shall thou, you Israelites, serve your enemies, come on.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Which the Lord God shall send against us, come on.
In hunger.
In hunger, when we need food, we got to go to our enemies. This is pinpointing who these Israelites are. It's you. Go ahead.
And in thirst.
And in thirst. Go ahead.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness. Water, clothing, and food, you got to get that from people that hate your guts. What kind of curse is worse than that? Read.
And in want of all things.
And in want of anything. In need. Want means need. And in the need of anything, you got to go to them. Come on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
And this enemy shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. And this happened in quote unquote slavery time. But now you got the teachers saying, well, let me put the imaginary chains on you. And you get the reaction because you are those people. That's the point. God had it recorded in the Bible. I'm calling them bastards because if they had any real power, you would have never got this Bible. You would have never figured this out. Most High made them think that they're Christians and all that, but you actually, the book is for you. The Bible is for you. Read.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Until he have destroyed you. That's how we are now. Destroyed as a people. Destroyed in our minds. Come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The Lord shall bring us into captivity. With ships. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
So we shall be sold unto our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Go ahead.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall redeem us. That's what that buy means. No man shall redeem us from this hell. Of all of this terrible experience that we went through, no man was going to redeem us from that. No man was going to save us from that condition. And that's exactly the reason why we're in it now. Y'all all right? Now jump up to verse 47.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God.
We're going to find out when it says until our enemies have destroyed us. We want to talk about some of the ways they destroyed us because we often leave this out. But we're going to bring it up today. Read that.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
For the abundance of all things. Read that again.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God.
Because you Israelites did not serve me as your father. That's what God is saying to us. Go ahead.
With joyfulness and with gladness.
With joyfulness and with gladness. You wasn't glad to serve me. God got mad. God got angry. A father would get mad. Go ahead.
And with gladness of heart.
And with gladness of heart. You wasn't glad to serve me. Go ahead.
For the abundance of all
because
things.
I gave you everything. For the abundance of all things. That's what I want to talk about. What are some of the abundance of all things? Our land. We had that. We lost that. Gold. We lost that. Diamonds. Bauxite. Precious stones. Oil. Our talents. Even coffee. And the fruits. I'm talking about our Northern Kingdom brothers. That's on the islands and all that with all that fruit and them different plants that they have down there. Coffee. Brazil and all that. All of those things belong to us. Read that again.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
For the abundance of all things. Let's talk about that. Give me Baruch chapter 3, verse 36. Your enemies, our enemies, know what we possess spiritually. Well, the abundance of all things. Let's read about it. Baruch chapter 3, verse 36.
Baruch chapter 3, verse 36.
So the best thing to do in concerning our people is keep them out of that damn Bible. That's how they talk. That's their discussion. When it says that the nations make a tumult, the tumult is about keeping you. It says that the name of Israel may be no more in their remembrance. That's what their discussion is. Read.
He hath found out all the ways of knowledge.
God has found out all the ways of knowledge.
And have given it unto Jacob.
And he has given all his knowledge, his talents, his gifts, his resources. He gave it all to who?
Unto Jacob.
He gave it all unto Jacob. That's the abundance of all things that God gave us. So they need to exploit the hell out of us. We're walking around here as a shell of a human being. A shell of a man. Dead bodies. A shell of a woman. You're not even a real woman. You're not even a real man. You're beasts. That's what they've made us into. Read that again.
Yes, sir. He hath found out all the ways of knowledge.
All the ways of knowledge, God had it. Go ahead.
And have given it unto Jacob.
And have given it unto Jacob.
His servant. And to Israel, his beloved.
And to Israel, his beloved. He called us his beloved. God gave all that talent to us, and we disobeyed him. We said, what? I gave you the abundance. Go back to Deuteronomy 28:48. I gave you the abundance of all things, and this is how you do me?
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God.
Because you didn't serve me as your father. This is how God is dealing with us. Go ahead.
With joyfulness.
With joyfulness, we weren't glad.
And with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
For the abundance of everything, he gave it all to us. And we weren't glad for that. And we evil and wicked as hell towards each other. Go ahead.
Back to Baruch, Bishop.
Go 48, Deuteronomy 28:48.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore,
because of your disobedience, because of your hatred to be up under me,
shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and the want of all things.
And we shall, all the things that was given to us, now we have to beg. Just think about it. If all things was given to us, all of that was taken away from us, and now we have to beg for it from people that hate our guts. The so-called Jews ain't experiencing that. You experiencing that. So what is the best thing to do? Those real Jews, keep them out of that damn Bible. Let's get rid of that Bible. Give them Islam. Give them Africanism. Give them this. Give them that. Give them everything. But don't give them that Bible. If the preachers are going to teach the Bible, make sure they teach white supremacy Jesus. And if there's anybody in that congregation that even stands up to bring out the truth, you have him executed. That's how they really feel. And it will literally lead to that. I'm saying it in a vocals, in a spiritual sense, the execution, because they'll just ostracize him, make fun of him in front of the church. But if he keeps this thing on, they will literally build a whole team to literally destroy him and anything that comes out of his mouth in terms of righteousness. How do we know? Because we are those. We're those people. And there's definitely a war to kill us physically, to kill us, to destroy anything about what we're bringing out. That's the real war, brothers and sisters. That's what's really going down. Where you at?
The bottom of 48.
Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Until. So the yoke of iron represents your resistance. I have to put a yoke of iron on you because you are not yet broken. Kill the Indian and save the man. It's the same thing they did at the Gad. Kill the spirit in him that's resisting my white supremacy. So put a chain on him
because he's still rebellious. She's still rebellious. I can't take that off until I know that the mind is broken. When they become perfect Negroes, when they become perfect Indians. That's what it's talking about. Read.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from
till he have destroyed that. That was the part I needed. He shall put a yoke. Read that statement again. And he shall what?
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Until he have destroyed us. So once we are destroyed, I don't need the chains anymore, because the chains mean work. The chains mean that I got to pay attention to you rather than sit in my office and make money hand over fist like they're doing today. Understand my point? When we was in chains, he couldn't get any sleep. He had to work. If we got hungry, he had to feed us. He gave us slop and garbage, but he had to feed us. They got recycling where they do that now, so that's got some value to it. He had to feed us with that. That cost him money. We ain't do, you dig it? Until he have destroyed thee. My video, Trick Baby. Come on. Until he have destroyed us. This is what is, these people are discussing the destruction of the black mind. Oftentimes we watch this video, this clip, and we look at other things, but I want to pull something out perhaps that we haven't really paid attention to. Hit it, open it up, Trick Baby. Remember, the key word is that until he have destroyed thee. Hit it.
It's you liberals.
Make sure that the sound is good, but we need the sound on this.
Conservatives make
Back it up
mistakes.
again. I was talking. I want to be quiet, so we'll let it ride. Come on.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
Is it loud
No,
enough?
Howard, you liberals have
Okay.
let them invade our society. You give them jobs.
I want to go back to the parts
political-
because he said something in the beginning of this. He said something in the beginning of this. Play it again.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
You liberals have lifted them up. The liberals, the liberals, come on, will be the people like your Abraham Lincolns and all of that. Go ahead.
You conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people.
You
Without
can't
hope.
afford, I'm breaking it down. You cannot afford to strangle hope. Because what's going to happen? We're going to start bucking up. Go ahead.
Hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give
You
them
let
jobs.
them invade our society. Go ahead.
Political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have
Only
to
the
move them.
smart ones. I can hardly, it's not loud enough for me. I don't know. But anyway, I'm trying to hear what I'm trying. I'm loud. I'm talking about the video. I need the video to match my volume. Okay? Hit it.
Them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us.
If we leave the smart ones in the ghetto, he may become a leader. So the whole point is about, why are you giving them certain props? Why are you giving them gifts? Why are you appeasing them? And he said, you can't leave them down there because they're going to get agitated and they're going to start organizing and we're going to have a problem. But if we bring him and let him pretend that he's one of us, that's what he's going to talk about. But the point of me bringing this up is this is equivalent to Ecclesiastes 7:7. Get that for me real quick. Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
If you leave him down there, he will get angry. If we just heard that. If you leave him in the ghetto suffering, his racial anger, and he will begin to organize. Go ahead.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
So if we give them we act like we care about them. We give them freedom. We grant them emancipation. They'll love us. But at the same time, we tear their butts up everywhere else. Read that. Read that again, and then we're going to play this clip.
Yes, sir. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Come on.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
And a gift, which is a lie, destroys the heart because it makes us, it deceives us into thinking that we have freedom. Now, let's back the clip up. I'm going to let it play now. I think y'all got the point.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the
Political
smart ones they
jobs.
move.
Political jobs meaning your mayors, your presidents, all of them. We got a black president. The Negroes caught the worst hell up under them. Go ahead.
Wow.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us.
Hold it.
But
If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might become a leader. Did y'all hear that? Oppression maketh a wise man mad. A wise man mad. Go to the end of the groups. Go to the end of what I sent you and post that last thing up. This is what they're talking about. I just want them to see the picture of it. I'm going to just explain just the top part of it. We're coming back to this. Go to the stuff I sent you on Telegram. But the very last thing I sent you was a screenshot of some words. Right. Look at this. If we leave him in the ghetto, he will be left to hard times. If he's left to hard times, that will create strong men in the ghetto. Y'all all right? I was making this point when I was in Rochester, and I was talking about how when I was up there for the wedding for the brothers and the sister, Officer Obadiah's daughter. All praise to the Most High. I was talking about how as we prosper in this truth, as the brothers and sisters continue to come in and learn and get, some of us may begin to lose the fight that it took to get here. And I was talking about when IUIC started, we had to really fight. We went through hell just to get here. You dig it? Just to get here. Can you imagine that? Because what y'all see now is the result of hard labor, of straight up hard work and scandal and evil and wickedness. We went through it. We got stories to tell, death threats, all of that, just to get here. Now, people coming in now, they see, ooh, look, they're all smiling and all of that. And that's like a person that's given, I say, $100,000, and then a person that worked for $100,000. The person that worked for that money, he's going to make sure that that money gets dealt with properly because he had his blood, sweat, and tears is in it. That's the hard times. And that hard times create strong men. But if you're going to just give it to them, they'll swallow it and treat it like it's garbage. That's the reason why we have to get on brothers and sisters so much, because they don't appreciate the hard work that it took to get here. Sometimes people don't understand why I just use myself, why I'm so itchy on certain things. Because I know the hard work that it took to get here. Maybe you don't know, but I know. And I want you to take on that same posture. But our enemies say that the Israelite organization is a fractured organization, meaning that we understand that the hardliners, the people that built it, they're the ones that's going to really hold on to this because they have labor and blood, sweat, and tears behind it. But we're going to get the children because they're not going to appreciate what the elders have done. Now you got these new niggas coming up talking about their elders. Yeah, I'm going to call them niggas. I'm speaking evil against our bishop. Nigga, nobody even knows this nigga. He talking smack. Running his big black gums on the doggone YouTube. running his damn mouth. He ain't seen nothing. Talking about he's some damn elder. Elder of the damn flies. The hell is this? But the work and the hard work that we put into this thing is what this is about. And we want to make sure that you understand that, so that this truth will not be fragmented. It'll continue to go. Because the generations after you need to be able to appreciate the work that their elders have done. Now, go back to my picture. Hard times. Hard times. Get it up there. Hard times create strong men. Okay, there was another thing that I had learned about many years ago, like in the mid-'80s, I think it was. And I had came across a video that was on television. They ain't had no YouTube and all that then. And I think I recorded it. I always had a habit of keeping a tape inside the VCR. I say VCR, people don't know what I'm talking about. But inside the VCR. And I remember the statement said that it was about struggle. It says struggle, I want to make sure I quote it properly. Struggle is what gives life meaning. This is what I'm trying to remember how it was written. He was talking about the importance of struggle, the benefit of having gone through the labor. Struggle is what gives life meaning, not someone just handing you over some victory. This is in the statement. He said, when you give up struggling, they would have beaten you. They could be anything that's opposing you. They would have beaten you, and then you end up in the streets with your hands out. That was a statement. That was many years ago. Years later on, I began to really understand how that hones in with what we're doing. You digging it? All praise to the Most High. So hard times create strong men. Put it back up there. Hard times create strong men, because if you're in the ghetto, you're looking for a way out. And you want to make sure that whatever you do is going to add some longevity to your years, to your family years, so you might begin to think righteously and organize. So what happens when these strong men create this, when they organize and set things up, then the good times come in, because now there's a benefit to what the strong men built. That's what I was talking about. Brothers coming in here now, sisters coming in here now. The good times, because the strong men built this. Now you get to enjoy the good times. But if you forget that they are at war, the damn war ain't over. Although they ain't telling you that they're killing you, because they didn't declare it, we up there waiting for them to say it's a pandemic or a plandemic. People dying all over the body. We up there still talking about I wonder if it's a pandemic. And we have to wait for them to come up there and declare that it's a pandemic. Oh, okay, it's a pandemic. But your people dying like flies. Can you dig it? So this is the point. We in a mind state of good times, and we forgot that the enemy is still trying to kill us all. So what happened? You get too much good damn times, and you fall asleep. You get comfortable. You become decadent. That's that word. Decadence falls upon you. You get comfortable. You don't watch as much as you used to. You're not as vigilant as you used to be. You're not paying attention to every detail like you used to do. And you get lazy. You get relaxed. And what happens? Your children come out weak. Good times create weak men. Then when the men are weak, we're back in the ghettos again, back to dope all over the place, back to prostitution, back to all kind of evil and filth and wickedness. And then in the middle of that, strong men are going to come along and say, we got to fix this. And it's a recycle all the time. We just keep going into this damn cycle, because we don't remember that once we get ourselves up, don't get lazy. The fight is still on. I'm not rejoicing in nothing till we get the kingdom. I don't give a damn if we got 400 schools in one state. I'm not happy until this damn kingdom is burned up and we rule. Where am I at? Play the rest of that thing, man.
We raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger.
He loses his racial anger. He becomes weak. That's the point. He becomes weak. Go ahead.
He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him.
So they exploit that thing. They say, he used to be a leader for us, and now he done sold us out. So now he don't even have the backing of his own people that he once led, because they sought him out. Oh, he looks like a smart one. Let's bring him in. Separate him. You don't want to be associated with your downtrodden people. Come on up here with us. Go ahead.
It's worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color. In
fact, what is that? What was that statement there? In fact, for his love to be like one of us, for the creature comforts, meaning that's the gifts that they give you. Go ahead.
In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
But is he really? Are we really one of them? No. But you have alienated yourselves from your history. You have alienated yourselves from your roots and everything. And you're basically like one Negro among a whole church of white folks. That's scary to me. I was in high school, and when I was in high school, I had a friend who was from the Bronx. He lived around Woody Crest Avenue, and he went swimming in the summer with a group of white folks. And when the school year was to come around, he wasn't there. Then we learned that he drowned during the swim thing. And they say he panicked and such and such and such. Now, I wasn't there. But I'm imagining one Negro amongst a whole bunch of white folks. They killed his ass. That's just my thought. They killed us behind. I can imagine the terror when he thought that they were his friends, and they were probably calling him nigger. I'm going to say it, because maybe there need to be a movie on it. He's gasping for his life and all of that. And he's saying, Bill, Donald, help me, nigger. You never know. He's not here to tell it. He probably wish somebody could speak for him. Can you dig it? But I couldn't even imagine even being in that atmosphere. That would just scare the hell out of me. No, man, that's, you know. But it ain't all about too much of the white face particularly, because some of our people are just as bad as them and even worse. You know. But all them so-called white faces around me, that'd be an instant flag. I got to figure the Negro out before I disassemble myself from him. Can you dig it? All right. So he's a undercover brother, I should say. He's got the color on him, but he's not quite us. Those Negroes that we be comfortable with, but yet do the same deeds as the evil so-called white man. All right. So that we played that. I'm getting ready to play another video. An article, actually. The prosperity of our enemies only began to expand into a worldwide exploitation economy. Let me say that again. I wrote this. The prosperity of our enemies, meaning the wealth that they have gained, only really began to expand into a worldwide economy of exploitation of our talents, of our resources, of everything. Let me give you an example. Go back to Baruch 3. Because like I said, they're not trying to put us back in those chains. No. They're going to lose too much money doing that. Baruch 3 and 36.
Baruch chapter 3 and verse 36. He hath found out all the ways of knowledge.
The Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead.
And have given it unto Jacob.
And have given all these gifts to Jacob. Why would we have to accept the gift from an oppressor? and a gift destroyeth the heart, because we were foolish and we lost what we once had innately. It was part of us, like our arm is. Go ahead.
And have given it unto Jacob.
And he has given all this to Jacob, all the knowledge and the wisdom and talents and everything. He gave that to Jacob, Israel. Go ahead.
His servant. And to Israel, his beloved.
And to Israel, his beloved. That's who God gave it all to. So what are some of the things that was given to us? Like I said, for the abundance of all things that I was talking about earlier, it is not just talking about our land and gold, diamonds, precious stones, oil, coffee, fruits, vegetables, and that of that sort. It also includes our talents and resources. Our talents and resources. What are some of our talents? Well, everybody knows how we sing. I don't know of any choir in any of these churches where they ain't got big mama with them big lungs in there getting it on with that Hammond organ. Can y'all dig it? Whitney Houston and our great singers, Anita Baker and Diane Reeves, and these great singers. Beautiful voices, Sarah Vaughan. I'm going back some, you know. These people, Mahalia Jackson, Patti LaBelle. Don't give me no Cyndi Lauper. Give me Patti LaBelle when she kicks the shoes off. You know you're in trouble then. That's talent. Okay? Talent. Singing. Our arts. We have artists and sculptors. When I talk about art, ain't nobody better than us in art. You just don't know about it. Even in the so-called museums, that ain't half of the stuff that you can do. The beautiful art and the exhibit, you know, when they just show things of little exhibits, that's nothing compared to the real beauty of the art that we play. Dancing and stuff like that. We got all that. Okay? Our minds to create. We have a creative mind. A creative mind. I'm going to show y'all something. There's a black man invented this thing. I didn't send this picture, but I'm going to send it to you. It's a video. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick. How many of y'all are familiar with trains, meaning the railroad train system? I'm talking about engineering now. I'm talking about some of the great minds that we have, the mind to invent. Okay? You've had people that was on that was working the rail yard in this time. The man that I'm speaking about, his name is Andrew Beard. Andrew Beard, okay? And he worked, I think that's it. I hope I got his name right. Look him up real quick. Put him up there. Let's see if let's make sure I at least got that straight. Google it. Andrew Beard. See what we got. Holding things up. Andrew Beard, I just want to see if I'm confirmed on his name. Huh? Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Okay. He invented the automatic coupler. That's what I was looking for. There was a video I was trying to find on it. Okay. He was a black man. I don't know what they're showing here, but he was a black man. The name of the book that talks about this is called Black Inventors of America. Okay, so I don't need to see any pictures. If you get the book called Black Inventors of America, they got a drawing of what he looked like. Okay, but the name of the book is Black Inventors of America. He invented the automatic coupler. Well, I guess we ain't going to find it, but I'll just say this here because I'm still talking about our creative minds. It used to be a situation where no, you ain't got to look for the picture, where when the trains would hook up, you used to literally have to be between the cars and have to physically hook the latch onto the catch And you'd be between the cars. And the cars would have to move closer together in order for you to do this. So that means your life is at risk being between those two cars as they come together, and then you have to drop the pin to pin it together. Well, Andrew Beard saw that, and he said, you know what? A lot of people are getting injured. A lot of deaths happening. He sat and he invented a coupler that would automatically connect the trains together when they come together. The black man did that. Y'all all right? He invented that. And every railroad system on the planet uses it. The traffic light. We invented that. Garrett Morgan. Y'all all right? The automatic transmission, the refrigerator. That's us. Telephone. Fire extinguishers. All of those talents, we had that. Could you imagine? Like I remember one of my old elders said in the old school, and I never forgot it. He was pointing to us. I was in the crowd dealing with the camera. I was working the camera that time, and he was pointing to the Israelites, the Jakes that be listening. He said, don't you know that none of you black people in this country are supposed to be poor? What? Well, what if they didn't go to school? Some of them might be thinking, what if they didn't get a job? He made the point and he said, don't you know that none of you are supposed to be poor? Just look at that one invention. Let's just go there. The automatic coupler. Man, every railroad station, everything's supposed to be paying black people. Just on that alone. Because it's still being used by MTA, Chicago Transit, CTA. All of these major subway systems and train apparatus, you got your freight trains down here too. They all use that system. How many of you think of a black man when you see that? Nobody. So you really think they care about us being, what they talk about, bias in the school? We have the freedom to learn. All that bull that we was reading about earlier. Why they didn't deal with these poor little black kids just on that alone? Because they never gave a damn about you. Y'all all right? That's a war. War. Never forget it. Whether you came in here yesterday, appreciate and trust the process. Like our Bishop Kanai said, trust the process. Okay, because there's a lot of work it took to get this here, and you know a lot of people are not happy with what we're doing. All right, let's get back to where I was at. So, the talents, for the abundance of all things. Coffee, fruit, we mentioned that. Then I was talking about our singing talents, arts, creative mind to invent, to build and engineer, and architecture. The clock, we did that. The clock, we invented that. What time is it? It's time for a black man. That's what time it is. Every time somebody mentions what time it is, it's time for a black man. How about that? So, architecture, our resources further includes our own physical bodies. Ain't nobody more beautiful than us. Can I get a witness? I don't want to see no Miss America. I don't want to see no Mr. Universe looking like Hank Williams. I ain't going nowhere till you give me one of them Hank Williams songs. No, I don't. No, man, we got the beauty. Can you dig it? All the 12 tribes, we're the beautiful people. White man calling himself Japhet. Even the real people of Japhet, that ain't no white folks. The seed of Japheth is not white folks. That's another stupid, dumb, Negro-like lie they got out here. Talking about the white man came from Japheth. The white man is Esau. Okay? And the word Japheth, if I'm not mistaken, means beautiful people. Okay? And what the hell is beautiful about these people? About these so-called white folks? Polynesian, Hawaiians, that's the group that come out of Japheth seeds. Okay? Now, the prosperity of our enemies only begun to expand into a worldwide exploitation economy. Okay? So when I talked about us being exploited, not only our physical bodies, our beautiful minds, our fashions, look how we dress. Look at the clothing that we deal with. Man, we're supposed to be the bums and the slaves. Man, everybody copies what we do. Nobody don't want to wear none of that mess that they come up with. We got the style. Can I get a witness? My sister K-Lad. Can I get a witness? You all right? Okay. That's what you call beauty and fashion. And all genres of music, from rock and roll on down to everything. We invented all the music. So they stole all of that. OSZ, can I get a witness? Okay. They stole all of that. So it would be great for them to exploit all of these talents. Don't put them in slavery. Exploit them. Make them work for me and let them put their talent on display, and I will make the money off of rap music. I will make the money off of jazz. I will make the money off of fashion, and I'll have them pay my prices. I'll have Michael Jordan to fly through the air with Air Jordans and make sneakers worth $500 damn. Ain't that how much they cost now? How much them Jordans cost? Are they? Am I right? I thought I was being astronomical by saying that, but y'all telling me that it might be right on the money. Damn. Cost maybe $2 to make it with the rubber that they took out of Africa to make the soles on them. That's the exploitation that they get by having us colonialized in captivity, where we are giving all our resources to them. And your resources doesn't necessarily mean that you're working in a field in Brazil or in Africa or one of the countries over there. Your talents are being exploited right here on these jobs. The reason why a lot of these companies are doing great is because the real oil and the real fuel that's making them work is coming from you. You walk out on these jobs, they done, because they'll have to get down there and do the work. And it ain't happening. They're trying to automate things, but it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. They need you. Don't be fooled. So they need us, quote, unquote, free. Y'all all right? Not in chains, because that goes cost them money. I ain't done with you yet now. Give me my article. The prosperity, well, the name of the article is Ending Slavery Made America Richer. That's the name of the article. Let me say that again. Ending slavery made America richer. Tell me, you think they want to go back to chattel slavery if they're made richer by us, quote unquote, I am free? What's that soundbite? Brothers, God, I want that. That thing is funny as hell. I heard that thing. I was cracking up. When Biden won the thing, I am free, singing with his pearly whites. Damn. Anyway, ending slavery made America richer. Let's get to reading. Jump down. Let me get right to the marked parts. Move it down to where it says, now let me anticipate. Okay? So y'all saw the title right there. That's the part right there, right there. Now, y'all saw the title. The title was Ending Slavery Made America Richer. So I say that because of the first article that we read, our people have a fear. Why you want to bring up slavery? Why you want to bring up the imaginary chains and all that? Don't you know you might give these white people some idea to put us back in chains? Honey, that's not going to happen. They don't want us in chains. They want this, what we're reading. Y'all all right? At the top of it, I'm just jump up a little bit. We're going to come to read that. Jump up. Move. Come up. Come on. I just want to read that statement. There's a statement in, come on. Move it. Right above the graph. Come on, a little bit more. Right there. American prosperity was built on slavery and torture. Yes, it was. That's what the elder meant when he said, ain't none of us are supposed to be poor, by the way. That's the answer. Because it was all built off of our death, off of our destruction, off of our robbery, rape. You know, they made it. Human beings made it like you made a dog, like you made a horse and a cow. They made it men and women. Make them to quote unquote produce a buck for better slavery. That took work, but it totally destroyed us. But we need to remember what happened to us. Don't forget it. Keep that in your mind. Because that'll keep you from getting weak. That'll keep you from going to sleep. You said the good times, when we get into the kingdom, that's the good times. How in the world you're going to tell me this is the good times now and I'm still catching hell? You're going to try to make me believe that the so-called gift you give me going to make me forget what's owed to me. Going to make me forget what's my inheritance is. You can't give me no doggone car or whatever you're going to give me to make me forget that the whole planet Earth and you belong in my custody.
Right.
Not only the things, but you yourself. The white man belongs on the end of my leash. You're going to give me some doggone car or house. No. That ain't enough. Then he take it back from you when you get uppity. Lord have mercy. American prosperity was built on slavery and torture. All right, now jump down. Jump down to the part. Now it says, now let me anticipate. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Let's hit it.
Now let me anticipate the yes buts.
Now, in other words, yes, America is made richer through slavery, but I have this contradiction with what you said. That's what he's addressing. In other words, some Negroes might have problems with the statements. So he said, well, let me deal with them now. Let me get them out the way now. Y'all all right? Read it again.
Now let me anticipate the yes but.
Yes, but this. He said, I already anticipated that you were going to do that. I'm going to fix you up right on now. That's what he's saying. Come on.
Some Americans were made worse off.
Some Americans were made worse off because they ended slavery. These are the people like the teacher that was in the classroom. These are the southern whites that actually had slaves that enjoyed having a Negro that they could rest their feet on, like Mandingo. Come here, where that boy I can rest my feet to get rid of this rheumatism. Y'all all right? So they missed that. Go ahead, read that again.
Some Americans were made worse off. Obviously, slave owners, and less obviously those who were closely connected.
And less obviously those who were, go ahead.
Closely connected to the slave economy.
So those who were closely connected to the
slave economy.
to the slavery economy, those were the ones that kind of suffered a little bit. But that's a handful of people. You understand? A lot of those Edomites that had us in slavery, they enjoyed. Even though they had to catch hell in keeping us alive, you know, there was a segment in the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom. There's a segment in there where the white man from Virginia, I believe, someplace, he came to visit this woman that had her house was full of slaves, all kinds of servants. There was like 40 of them, and they were tearing the house up, basically. So her thinking was the woman that owned the house, who was entertaining the special white man from, from Virginia, whatever. He comes to visit, and there's slaves all over the house doing everything and making a mess. So he basically said, at the end of the point, he said with all of the slaves that you have here, this is quite exhausting. Because they're making a mess, they're this and that and the other. He said, half of them are sick, health care. Half of them are this way, half of them are that way. And the few that are doing something that gets messed up because the other ones come and mess it up, that's basically slavery. That's the slavery system. Then his answer to that was, he said, you can get rid of damn near all of them and just take 5 and give them all the jobs, and they can take care of all of this. That's in the movie. It's in the clip. So a lot of things we watch and it slips past. We don't connect with it, especially this newer generation. This new generation, the severance has severely begun, because a lot of the things that we as the older generations know, the younger people don't know anything. And it's a shame. So we got a lot of work to do. That's the reason why I say I'm not comfortable getting happy about nothing. I realize that we're at war and our children are at stake because they are being shafted away from us at whim, at will. We talk about purple and gold today. Tomorrow there'll be niggas in the street if you ain't careful. Watch what I tell you. Don't get comfortable. Read.
Some Americans were made worse off, obviously slave owners, and less obviously those who were closely connected to the slave economy, bankers who financed them, cotton mills, etc.
Go ahead.
But as Fogel showed in a study of railroads, when thinking about any economy, we tend to mentally overrate the importance of any one sector.
In other words, don't just look at one part of the slavery system. I mean, don't look at one part of what we're setting up, like just the bankers. In other words, by the bankers and the rich taking people out of chattel slavery, that's just one little piece that's suffering a little bit. But the benefits far outweigh the little sufferings from the little teacher that's in the school talking about some nigga put the chain on and all of that. You dig it? Read.
Especially big sectors. So despite the very real losses to a sizable group of
The
Americans,
sizable loss to the group of Americans is like the slave owners. So he said this. So despite the very real losses, because those are real losses, the slaves are gone. But the little bit of slave owners that lost their slaves, they lost it to putting them in the labor market where they can make us super billions of dollars. That's what he's saying. Y'all all right? Read that statement again. So despite
the very real losses to a sizable group of Americans, the economy overall,
the worldwide economy. Go ahead.
the economy overall did much better.
Did much better than the losses that you Southerners lost. Damn. Go ahead. Did much better. Go ahead.
Did much better as a result of the
Abolition of slavery.
Abolition of slavery.
So the economy did so much better because they abolished slavery. Only a few of you poor Southern crackers, that's how they thinking. That's how they talk. Y'all lost, but we got big business. And we'd rather have that. And every once in a while, we'll tell you little peons that, you know, you're just as good as us. You can call them nigger every once in a while. You can feel great. But in the reality, the people that's making all the real money is the big spenders. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Wall Street and all the rest of them. Y'all all right? Don't feel sorry for none of them. Give me my first point. Read on.
Do we know that this was because of the abolition of slavery?
Do you know that the economy did so much better as a result because we abolished slavery? So what was Abraham Lincoln really? He was a businessman. A businessman! Go ahead.
There are very few certainties in economics, but consider, 1, Brazil didn't abolish slavery until the 1880s.
Now, so he said, I'm going to give you an instant understanding of letting you see where the abolition of chattel slavery, because the mental slavery is worse. He said, but the abolition of chattel slavery, he's going to give some facts here to show that this actually works better. And here we up there worrying about, is the white man going to put us back in chains? Like I said, hell no. He ain't trying to do that at all because he'll have to pay for everything. He said, hell no. Go ahead.
Brazil didn't abolish slavery until the 1880s.
Go ahead.
And did worse than America.
And they did worse than America because Brazil was colonized by Esau. So while it was colonized by Esau, America said that we're going to abolish it, but meanwhile, Brazil kept it going. What'd that tell you? The Israelites that was down there was in captivity too. Go ahead.
It also did worse than countries to the south of Brazil.
Go ahead.
2, when the American South abolished Jim Crow, incomes in that region began to converge on those in the north.
So when they quote unquote got rid of Jim Crow, their salaries rose with the Negro. They got a video out here called How to Sell to the Negro. How many of y'all seen that? That's an example. Tell him, hey, you, come buy this TV. Come, you got to know how to appease the Negro to make him want to spend. Because some of these Negroes make a lot of money. That's how they talk. Can you dig it? So come on in. No, don't call him nigga. No, Mr. Johnson, with your top hat on. Come on in, spin. This is what they're talking about. Read that again.
When the American South abolished Jim Crow,
When they abolished Jim Crow, go ahead.
incomes in that region began to converge on those in the North.
So their salaries went up, and they talked about it in that clip. The salary, they looked at it. There was a guy that was doing the hosting it, and he went and looked at some machine that bring up the stats, and he looked at it and said, "Whoa, look at all this money these Negroes is making." The Art of Selling the Negro, I think that's the name of the film. Check that out. This is what they're talking about. So as the Negro, quote unquote, left the chains and put a suit on, put a top hat on, they said we can make more money with him. The hell with a chain. But I am free. No. And you should never forget that. Getting lazy. Come on.
Indeed, even Southern whites began to catch up, especially when adjusting for cost of living differences.
When the cost of living, let's look at that part. So as the quote-unquote Negro got free, they adjusted how much your rent was. They adjusted how much your car note was, or gas, and things in your neighborhood, your food, everything you spent. When your week was over, your paycheck was flat. Done. They've adjusted it to make sure that you don't get a chance to really accumulate any real wealth. And when you did accumulate some wealth, you were so foolish, you went and gave it back to the economy in the terms of billions of dollars and did nothing for yourselves. And they said, that's the perfect education that we wanted you niggas to have. That's how they see us. Don't tell me don't tell me for a minute that we're not at war. They just haven't declared it yet. Read.
Freedom increases productivity.
Freedom, here's a nigga. I am free. And you think freedom, you think that's real freedom. I think the word should be free Edom. Free Edom, not freedom. Can y'all dig it? I don't think they got it. Y'all got it? Free Edom, not freedom. Okay? So, read that statement again.
Freedom increases productivity.
Your quote-unquote freedom increases productivity. So we have to produce for them. Watch that movie, watch that documentary called The End of Poverty. You learn a lot about productivity. So it's a quote-unquote freedom increases productivity. More jobs of working, wage slaves. Then you got a school system, prison to pipeline. School to prison pipeline. You got a quote-unquote educational system that teaches you how to be wage slaves. Get a job. Work for this, work for that. It's a perfect system. They are not giving this up for nothing. God got to destroy their behinds in order for this to go down. He definitely ain't going to put us back in no damn chains. That's going to cost him too much money. Y'all all right? Like I said, I know this is very uncomfortable. I didn't even get to the rest of my stuff yet, but I'll have to do a part 2 probably. I don't know because I'm running it down. But that's all right. Read on.
Number 3, most of the rich countries around the world were places with free labor in the 19th century.
Most of the rich companies around the world were places with free labor in the 19th century. Go ahead.
Places that had slavery tend to be much poorer.
Wow! That's a migraine right there. So what is this quote-unquote free labor? You get mixed up on the words. Free labor means you have the right to work your ass off. And when you get your paycheck, spend it in alcohol, you ain't making no money with that. Spend it in dope, you ain't making no money in that. Spend it in these clothes that they sell you, even though it's our design. Damn. What more could a slave master want than to have those kinds of slaves? Where he's laughing all the way to the bank, around the bank, on top of the bank, under the bank. beside the bank. He's loving this. He's loving this. Read.
Number 4, superficially, the South seemed richer, but only if you don't count slaves. But why not count them? The North was far more dynamic, industrializing rapidly and drawing more immigrants from Europe.
Now, I want to make a point with what we're reading here. Go to my video. I'm going to cut some of this short because y'all got the point, right? Because there's more points here, but I think that what I just read summed it up. Y'all all right? Give me my next clip. Give me my next clip. Get the times in there. Now, I want y'all to pay attention because he's speaking in Spanish, but I want y'all to read the subtitles. I'm going to read them so y'all can see exactly what I was talking about when it comes to this quote-unquote free labor. And we're worried about going back into chattel slavery. I don't want to talk about the slave ships because the white people might get agitated enough and just put us in chains. That'll never happen. Even if the white man, the so-called white man, the Edomites, let me say it that way. I don't want to use the word cracker too much, because he cracked the whip. That's the reason. That's where he got the name from. But no matter how much they would want to actually see in his mind a nigger with a chain or a collar on, the rest of the white people that run this system, they say, the hell with what you want. This right here making too much money for us. We'll send you a couple of checks every now and then. But you're gonna let these Negroes be what I need them to be. So what I'm going to show you here is a clip that illuminates what we've been reading out of this article about ending slavery made America richer. This is from the this is from the documentary called The End of Poverty. Okay? This is what I was talking about. Is that the beginning? Oh, no, you got it set, right? Go ahead, brothers. Yes, sir. You got it at my time. Listen up. Turn it up, turn it up. Stop. She says 17 workers, not slaves, workers. Workers. So they had to work for the pennies. Workers died. Workers died. Go ahead. Of their free labor. Pause it. Of their free labor. The problem here, if they were slaves and they got injured, the white man would have to take care of them. But he said, I'll give you health insurance that you have to pay for. I give you a job that you have to pay. Go ahead. Okay, this is what I want y'all to read at. It said the grower sees the worker as a slave. This is the boss man. Y'all all right? He sees the worker as a slave. Go ahead.
They haven't rebelled so.
So these workers have not rebelled so. Because why? Why they haven't rebelled? Because they are free. I want you to understand what he's saying. Because I'm liberated. I'm a free worker. Go ahead. So he said they haven't rebelled, so go ahead.
Today, growers have a much easier way.
Today's owners, today's bosses have a much easier way. Go ahead. So they have a much easier way to accumulate wealth than during slavery. They have a much easier way to accumulate wealth than during the time of slavery. Same thing. The article, this man don't know nothing about the article that we're reading. And the article is not featuring the man that's in the film. But the reality is that they both see what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Back then, the boss was the slave's owner.
Back then, the boss was the slave master, was the slave owner. So the boss today is basically the slave master of yesterday. Y'all all right? Come on.
He had to take care of the slave's health and food.
The boss or the slave master had to take care of the slave's health and his food. So those 100, 400 some men that got hurt in the mines and all of that, he would have had to care for them. But today, they don't have to deal with none of that at all. Y'all all right? I'm going to go a little deeper on this. Read. Go ahead.
He had to take care of the slave's health and food. He had to take care of shelter.
He had to provide homes for them. Even if it was the slave's quarters. I got to protect, because this is where I make my money. So he got to take care of them. You know, that documentary, Uncle Tom, there's a part in the film where the character, the real Uncle Tom character, was at a slave auction. And I remember he was being interviewed by the cameraman, so to speak. And he said something. He said he was basically saying what we're looking at here. I wish I would have set it up. He said that I, as an Uncle Tom, he said, could you imagine what a fool of a master would be that if he allowed a scar to hit his Uncle Tom? He said that when it goes to sell me, plop goes down the price. So he says that the white man handles him with kid gloves. So then he goes on, because they were saying that you as an Uncle Tom, you a piece of garbage, you're willing to be a slave, this and that and the other. So he's arguing with him. He's arguing, you know, this rhetorical thing that they got going on, the interviewer thing going on. So he says to him, he says, I heard about you liberated workers. You're busting your behind from sun up to sundown. This is the Uncle Tom speaking. And he says, after all of that, he said, you're struggling to make ends meet. This is in the film. Then he says, tell me, what's the difference between a liberated worker and a slave? In other words, we did not progress at all. That's the point. Until he have destroyed thee, the Bible says. We've been destroyed into believing that we got some freedom, and we're worse off now than we ever was. But yet, we got time to lean back and get lazy and get comfortable and not realize that the war has turned up on us. So it says here, he had to take care of the shelter, even if it was the slave's quarters. Go ahead. It's going to get heavier in a minute.
Today, the boss has no such concern.
Today, with our liberated selves, the boss don't have to worry about shelters. He doesn't have to worry about food and clothing. He doesn't have to worry about any of that stuff. He says today, this boss has no such concerns. He don't have to worry about any of that anymore. Go ahead.
He just has to drive the truck to the outskirts of the city.
So he said he just has to drive the truck with his workers on it. That's what he means. Drive it to the outskirts of the city to where they do the jobs at. Go ahead.
The truck loads up. He takes them back. No more worries.
No more worries. Go ahead. So when he says that, he says once, okay, go ahead, read that.
Once the cutting is done, the worker who lives on the outskirts.
Go ahead.
The worker who lives on the outskirts has to find another way of surviving, selling popsicles or popcorn.
Stop. Are y'all digesting this? Him traveling, go back one stanza of this thing here. I want to get to about him taking, because it made me think about something that I witnessed when I was in New York. He just has to drive the truck to the outskirts of the city. In the 80s, I used to work downtown Manhattan, right across the street from the Empire State Building. There was an electronics store that I used to work there. And I would take the number, I was living in Harlem. I would take the number 2 train. I'd have to go up to 34th Street. You got your Penn Station line and all that. Well, the number 2 train stopped on 34th Street. And I would have to take that train to catch the number 2 train. I forget what trains run there now. I know it was a local on Broadway. You know, you New Yorkers, y'all know what it is. But I would have to, when I take the train, the local train, to get to 96th Street. 96th Street was where the Central Park or the Harlem border began. Follow what I'm about to say. I'm about to hit you old heads in the head in a minute with a song. When you got to 96th Street, that was where Manhattan ended, pretty much, on the train. The next stop was 110th Street. 110th Street is Harlem. What's the brother Bobby Womack made a song called Up on 110th Street? Because across 110th Street is Harlem. That's where the junkies go free. That's what he said in the song. Up on 110th Street, there's where the junkies go free. Because that's what was in our communities, drugs and all of that. But south of that was white folks. 96th Street, when I be on a train with my suit on, I said, go to work like that, my dumb ass. Let me stop. But we get to 96th Street, the train turns black. All of the white folks that I'm on the train with, New Yorkers know what I'm talking about. When you get to 96th Street, all the white people get off because they don't live where the niggas live. The next stop, 110th Street, and all the way up to 125th Street where I got off at because I lived on 129. Can you dig it? So once the train turned black, basically, I'm on the train with nothing but my people. We're all riding together just like sitting on that damn truck, going back to the damn ghettos. That's some SH, ain't it? That was in the 80s. It was 1988. That's where I was at going through this. And I'm seeing this. So, I don't want to lose my thought. Seeing that, the people up there, because there's more in this clip here. Once you pass that train stop, you're in Harlem. And that's like the song said, you know, people trying to make a fool out of me. I think that's another part of the record. You gotta have your game on. When you come outside, you gotta be for real, and if you don't know that, you don't know the deal. They will say it's better to learn than read it from a book. That way you know you'll never get took. Okay? So that's how they do. Somebody gonna say, I got bars, right? Lean back, lean back, lean back. Lean back. Play on. It says he has to drive the truck to the outskirts of the city. That's where all of the, and I have to go downtown too, and I see all the black people all dressed up in their suits and all of that. And they don't live down there where the white folks live at. They all got to go back to the ghettos at the end of the workday. Y'all all right? Play on.
The truck loads up. He takes them back. No more worries.
The subway. The Iron Horse. The subway took me back to the ghettos. Well, I got to pay all kinds of rent. You dig it? I got to buy my own food. I got to buy my own clothes. I got to take care of my own health care. Everything. I got to do all of this. The man don't have to do none of that. He has no concerns of that anymore because we're free. What am I pointing out? I'm not trying to disturb you. I'm not trying to make you feel like this is all a waste. What I'm letting you know is that the fight is not over, and we cannot get comfortable and lazy. That's my point, sisters. That's my point, brothers. Our children are at stake. Our nation is at stake. Because if we don't stand up for ourselves, nobody will stand up for us. That's cult talk. That's hate speech. Yeah, it's hate speech because you're the enemy. You want me dead. Of course it's hate speech. You tell a snake you want to move your chickens away from the snake, and you're telling the chickens, don't go out there, come in here where you're safe at. The snake gonna say, you're a hate. You're teaching hate. Here, you're the shepherd of the sheep, and you're trying to keep the sheep away from the wolves. The wolf gonna say, hey, you're teaching hate. You're teaching them sheep to hate me. Go ahead, play on. There's more to this.
The truck loads up. He takes them back. Play on. No more worries.
He ain't worried. The subway took us back. Go ahead.
Once the cutting is done, the workers who live on the outskirts has to find another way of surviving, selling popsicles or popcorn.
Selling popsicles or popcorn until they give you drugs. Because you have to make another way to make ends meet. Man working at McDonald's and Burger King, he can't even afford an apartment in Harlem. Forget about buying a car. Forget about it. Trust me, you don't want no car in New York City. I know. You pay more parking it than driving it. Play on.
Has to find another way of surviving, selling popsicles or popcorn. Kids go into prostitution, into drugs.
Are y'all hearing this? Does that sound like what we deal with? That's the reason why the dope was sent to Harlem. Because you niggas, this is how they thinking. You niggas, I know you mad, but I'm going to give you a way out. What? More pay? No, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to give you drugs. Going to let some of your rap artists make music glorifying cars and this and that and the other, and you could be like them. I came up on that. I've seen the devastation of Harlem during that time. And I talked about the Suzuki Jeep. Niggas buying them damn Jeeps, driving them all up around St. Nick and all of that. Then the next thing you know, bam, he killed by another drug dealer. His ass is out of business. So you got the drugs, you got the prostitution, you got all of that. Trying to not only make ends meet, but also trying to mend a broken mind and self-esteem. Woman to sell her body, lay down with any damn body. All of this is the result. I'm not beautiful. I want to look like Miss Clairol. I want to look like Miss Cosmopolitan with the blonde hair. And I'm not beautiful enough. Men don't want me. She ain't learning nothing in school, because what do they teach our kids in school? Nothing about themselves. They don't get to know nothing about the specialness of their own bodies. They don't get to know nothing about the specialness of their own sanctity. And they go out here and just give themselves like they're nothing. Trying to compensate because daddy ain't even home. Daddy got ran off in the 70s with the welfare program laws. You know what I'm talking about? So all of this stuff comes together. And all of it made money for white folks. All of it. Because now we're destroyed in terms of our self-value, our esteem, our self-worth. And we will go spend anything for the 8-ball jacket, or spend anything for those Air Jordan sneakers, or spend anything for that BMW car or Mercedes. Will spend anything to make me feel like I want to be because I'm looking at imagery on television that I cannot really match up with the little bit of money that I'm making. So whatever little bit that I get, I'm going to buy the gold chains. I'm going to buy the diamonds because I want to look like I'm it. And who's collecting the money? The white man. You think he really wants us in slavery? Chattel slavery? No. I got you niggas right where I want you. That's how he talk. I remember I was watching, I think it was a Donahue show in the 80s or early 90s. It must have been. I think it had to be the 80s. And you had some Klan men that was on the panel, and then you had some Jakes. You had some Jakes, some brothers that was about trying to turn things around. So they was arguing with the Klan members. Y'all hear me? And the white man said, listen, we got you niggas, because they would just say it straight out. We got you niggas just where we want you. And I don't think nobody in the audience knew what he meant. He said, we got you exactly, because the brothers were trying to say we're breaking out, we're winning, we're this and that, we're progressing. The white man sitting back and he said, we got you exactly where we want y'all to be. Damn. And I didn't really catch that until many years later. But then came this truth. Y'all all right? The Most High said, you're my people. So I'm going to start giving you that good news right about now. Y'all all right? Play the rest of this here. Like I said, don't lose hope, brothers and sisters. You just put your hope in the right thing. Don't put it in this system. Put it in the Lord, because the Lord going to destroy all of this. The Lord going to set this whole place on fire, and it's going to be a memorial to the place where we served our captivity. It's going to be here, but there ain't going to be a blade of grass left here. Thank God that I could read about the missiles that God put in this Bible. See, those are the things that gave me faith. Reading about how he's going to do it and seeing who he's going to bring out of this, it's the good stuff. Is that it on this video? Play the rest of it.
Kids go into prostitution, into drugs. They go find other alternatives in the world of crime.
They all go into, he said, they go find other alternatives to try to make money because they're being paid just above nostril level, just to keep their heads out of water, above water. Minimum wage. What the hell are you talking about? We built the whole planet. That's why I say I ain't going to be happy with nothing but a chain on his behind in slavery. That's the only way. That's when you're going to really see me smile. Brothers be talking about saying, y'all said don't really dance. He don't party. He don't know. I ain't got time for that. Everybody else can dance. Ain't got no time for that. When I get into the kingdom, I'm going to break dance. I ain't break dancing now. Y'all all right? Play on. Okay, so that's it on that, right? So now I want to get to some of my other stuff. I got about an hour left, right? About an hour left. I'm gonna get into some of this stuff here. Let's move on. So just because our enemies today hadn't outright straight up told us that they absolutely hate us, doesn't mean that they don't in fact hate us. Y'all all right? So can I get a witness? So when they said that we were quote unquote free, we bought that. But in reality, they love the destroyed state of our minds. This is so beneficial to them. When you have a whole people's mind is destroyed, all of the people's minds are destroyed to follow you and your Christianity dope. Wow. That's a hell of a thing. Tens of thousands of people sitting up in these cemeteries called churches or crack houses. I keep getting them mixed up. Crack houses. Forgive me. I keep getting that thing mixed up. But they sitting up there with dead brain, knowing damn well that they are not learning anything about their true salvation. And they've sided with the enemy because they have so much faith in Satan. And they're going to turn against the servants, the sons and daughters of God. They're going to pay for that. Every last one of them. I'm talking about the Negro now. I'm talking about our people. White man is already doomed. They ain't got to worry about him. There's nothing he can do. He's condemned from the beginning. Give me Psalms 109. Get a scripture in there. Psalms 109 and 7. I ain't read this one since my days of One West on the Street. I'm going back now.
Psalms chapter
109 and 7.
109 verse 7.
The thing just came to my mind. Hit me in the spirit. Read that thing, man.
When he shall be judged,
When the white man, when the wicked shall be judged. Go ahead.
let him be condemned,
Let him be condemned. Okay, go ahead.
and let his prayer become sin.
And let his prayer become sin. So when I'm talking about going into church, forget about it. His prayer is a sin to God. What the hell are you praying for? I made you to be Satan. I made you to be the vessel of my wrath. I made you and fitted you to my destructive power. Why ain't T.D. Jakes and the rest of these preachers talking about it? That's in the Bible. Can I get a witness? Give me that, Romans 9. They hate this chapter. Romans 9, 22, 23. As a matter of fact, read down to like 26. Let's get all that butter.
Romans chapter 9.
Let it drip off the side.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 22. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known?
What if God, willing to show how powerful he is? Here's a white man with his TV and his technology, making everybody think that he's the power. The Lord said, well, wait a minute. Maybe I want to get some props. What if the Lord wanted to make his power known? Read that again.
What if God, willing to show his wrath
What if God, willing to show his wrath? Go ahead.
and to make his power known,
And to make his power known. Go ahead, listen now.
endured with much long suffering?
Stop. Here's the Almighty, the supreme power of everything. Why in the world is he enduring with much long suffering? You want to know why? Because God cannot he can't break his own word. Israel must serve their captivity. That's where we at. We must serve out our punishment. But while we were serving our punishment, God had to refrain himself from saving us. I want you to understand that. Hold that and give me Isaiah. Hold that. Listen to this. Show how angry your God is. But he's going to keep his word like he said in his Bible. Isaiah 42 verse 13. Listen.
Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 13. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man.
When God is free from his prophecy, in other words, when it says now is come salvation and strength to our God and the power of his Christ. I'm talking about Revelation 12. For the devil is cast down. When that happens, the Lord is going to be free from his word of saying that Israel must go down and that falling away has to come. And he says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. He has to rule through his time that he may be revealed in his time, the scriptures say. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but when it comes, it shall speak. The Bible. So when that time comes, that's when the Lord is going to be free to tear ass up. Y'all all right? I know this is too hard for the marshmallow brothers that can't handle this kind of talk. But I'm being the voice of God right now when I come out of this Bible. And if it burn your ass up, it burn it up. But that's what you need to get. Stop playing. Read it again.
The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man.
The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. Come on.
He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war.
That's the way the war, the Most High going to proclaim war on everybody else. He said he shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. You know what it's like to be jealous? You ever seen people who fight when they're jealous? That's some terrible anger. The rage of a jealous man. Here's a man come home and catch a nigga and his woman tearing her up. He opens the door and sees The jealousy hit all kind of the red zone in his mind. You ain't buying him off. Oh, no. Let me run. Let me get my clothes. No, take these bullets. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. You're not calming that wrath down. No, take these. Read that again.
The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man.
The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. Come on.
He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war.
God shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. You ain't buying him off. Ain't no gift gonna stop nothing. Here's a man coming out. Here's the man in the bedroom. The man open up the door. He sees what he sees. He ain't no gift. You ain't, listen, man, there ain't nothing you could give me. Nothing. But please, don't mean nothing. Hot brass is coming. Go ahead.
He shall cry, yea, roar.
He shall cry, the Lord shall cry, yea, roar. Y'all ever seen people fight so viciously that they're crying? Man, I don't want to get in a fight with somebody like that. Huh? I've seen a dude beat somebody so damn bad, I know he was thinking, could y'all get these people off of me? Because the dude was giving him the business. He was crying while he was whipping ass. Y'all all right? I mean, tearing him up. I mean, it was like pulling a tornado off of the brother. We ain't had the guns and all that back then. We fight with our fists. Y'all all right? Come on, read.
He shall prevail against his enemies.
God said he shall prevail against his enemies. Here's the part I wanted to get to. That was just the build-up. Y'all all right? Come on.
I have long time holding my peace.
Did you hear that part there? I have long time holding my peace. What does it mean to hold your peace? You know, like when you want to say something and you have a rule or something where you can't break, you have to be quiet and you have to hold it, but inside you're boiling. Y'all all right? You mad. You black men, you know what I'm talking about. Every black man knows about this because he takes it short every day. He wants to lash out against some evil that's going on with him, some racism, some mistreatment, something, and he has to bite his tongue because he has to wait for the right time. Can you dig it? Y'all all right? This is God. This is God talking. Read that again.
I have long time holding my peace.
I have long time holding my peace. Go ahead.
I have been still.
I have been still. You mean to tell me the Creator has to hold himself back? That means he's trembling. Y'all all right? Come on.
I have been still.
I have been still. I'm angry and I want to get loose, but I can't break my word. Go ahead.
And refrained myself.
And I refrained myself. What do you mean when he said he refrained himself? His word held him back. Because the Most High is about his word. He said, as it is written, as it will be done. So he wrote it, he had it written, and he said, I have to abide by this because these are my words. But that don't mean he don't want to kick ass. Y'all all right? Come on, read that again.
I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman.
Now is the time when he's free from his prophecy. Now meaning that he can let it loose. Now is he's not bound anymore. Now is us getting into the kingdom. When we get into the kingdom, we ain't got to be afraid of lowering our voice when the white man come around. Y'all all right? Can I get a witness? The white man's coming. We ain't got to do that. Read.
I will destroy and devour at once.
I will destroy and devour at once. That's the power of that destruction that he's coming with. Go back to Romans. When I'm free, because he said it in the Psalms as well. He says, you thought that I was one with you. Give me that. Give me that also. Let's get all that in there. The one in Psalms 50. I'm about to change gears a little bit because there's a video that I want to play that I got to bring up.
Psalms chapter 50 and verse 21. These things hast thou done.
These things have Esau done to our people in the evil and
thy,
wickedness. What was the things that he did? What's above that?
Verse 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son.
That's us. He slandered Jacob. Esau slandered Jacob, calling us a hate group. The Lord sees this. Calling us violent extremists and all this garbage. Saying that we're murderers and liars and all this evil. And here we're sitting on stolen land that these bastards stole from our brothers. And you got the nerve to point their filthy fingers and talk about us. And they're sitting on stolen property, a damn criminal, pointing his dirty fingers at us. Read that again.
Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother.
Thou sittest and speakest against Jacob. Esau did this. Go ahead.
Thou slanderest thy own mother's son.
You slandered your own mother's son. It's unfortunate, but Esau and Jacob were brothers. Y'all all right? Come on.
These things hast thou done.
These things that you spoke against my chosen, my beloved, like he said earlier. These things that you have done against my people, you did it, and I kept silent. But that don't mean I wasn't watching your ass. Go ahead.
And I kept silent.
But I kept silent. Go ahead.
Thou thoughtest that I was altogether.
You thought that I was with you with your Christian garbage. Dig it now. I call it the trap. The Most High got a lot of these Edomites running around talking about something. Yes, Jesus loves me, for the Bible tells me so, and every last one of them going into slavery. They don't like that kind of teaching. That's why they're trying to get rid of the Bible. They know what this Bible is really saying. They just give the people methadone called Christianity in the churches. But they know what this Bible is really talking about. That's why they're trying to get rid of it. Y'all all right? That's all churches is a big methadone clinic. All the people sitting up in there. Read.
Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself.
Thou thought, you, Esau, you thought that I was with you. You painted my son to look like you, and you got leprosy. I put leprosy on you. You're going to oppose me, and you're going to say that my son looked like the curse that I put on you. He refrained himself from that. He watched him do this. You sisters talking about some of your blonde hair. You sick as hell. Go ahead.
But I will reprove thee.
The Lord said, but I will correct your behind.
And set them in order before thine
eyes. He's going to
eyes.
set up the nation of Israel in order right before his eyes. So that's why this vicious beast, he can't stop this. Y'all understand me? This is not by this is by God's power that IUIC is here. Like I said before, you can kill me. You can kill off some of the leaders. But I know enough about this Bible to know that I'm coming back to hang your ass. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Now go back to Romans.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 22. What if God, willing to show his wrath?
What if God, willing to show his wrath, like we was reading in Isaiah? I will destroy and devour once. I want to do this because I've been holding myself back and I refrain myself. And I'm suffering watching this roach running around calling themselves my people, calling themselves Jews. Go ahead.
And to make his power known.
So what if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, what?
Endured with much long suffering.
He endured with much long suffering. That's him. That's what we was reading in Isaiah. Holding himself back. He watched this happen. He couldn't step in because he couldn't break his word, but he endured watching him with much long suffering. Who did he watch? Read.
The vessels of wrath fitted to destruction.
I watched you as a vessel of my wrath because you was made for me to channel my anger through. That's in all the Bibles. How come these filthy scumbag preachers ain't reading this? How come they're not reading this? And it's in all the Bibles. Why are they not reading this? He said what? Read it again.
The vessels of wrath fitted to destruction.
He was fitted, made to be destroyed. Made to be destroyed. Go ahead, read on.
and that he might make known the riches of his glory.
So he's not only as he going to destroy Esau, but what did he say? He will make known the riches
Of his glory
of his glory.
on the vessels of mercy.
You're the vessels of God's mercy, you Israelites. That's what Isaiah 14 is about. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and he will yet choose you. That's the vessels of God's mercy. So he's going to channel his mercy through you, and he's going to channel his anger through your oppressor. Some of our people are so damn wicked, they're going to line themselves up with death. That's what they're going to get. You turning against this gospel, you're asking for death from God. You better recognize where you're at. Is that it? Read on.
Which he had afore prepared unto glory.
You was prepared for glory from the very beginning. That's why God named you Israel. You're the princes and princesses of God. You was named that. Forget about what they did to you when we came over here. You're the vessels of God's mercy. You better recognize that fast. Y'all all right? Now, give me Lamentations. I'm jumping around. Give me Lamentations. I'm going to read this here. Lamentations 4, and I'm jumping out of my sequence because I know I ain't going to finish it all up, so I'm jumping out a little bit. I don't like when I do that. I have a lot of stuff here that I wanted to really get into, but that's all right. Lamentations 4, and because I want to bring a video back. I want to bring a video into play. Lamentations 4, verse 17.
Yes, sir. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes has yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
We have watched for a nation that could not save us. We're going to find out who this nation is. Watch. Keep reading.
They hunt our steps.
They hunt our steps. This nation, they hunt our steps. The same nation that we're running to, pleading to, trying to be like. Go ahead.
That we cannot go in our streets.
That we cannot go in our streets. Go ahead.
Our end is near.
Our end is near.
Our days are fulfilled.
Read.
For our end is come.
For our end is come. Read.
Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven.
Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. Somebody might say, well, why are you stressing eagles there? Because that's the white man. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it. Read.
They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness.
That's how they do. And they set drugs up in the communities as our only escape from the mistreatment that we've been getting since they brought us here. Go ahead. They never meant for any of us to prosper. Don't you ever think that. Even if you women become bedwenches to them, they still don't give a living piss about you. You so-called black men talking about something, I'm a stud. The white man like my rod. The white woman. Hell, the white man too. The white woman. They don't love none of that. They want to see you dead. Lord have mercy. When you talk about Esau, you end up going into the abyss because they sick as hell. So y'all got to keep that line on me. Don't let me go too far. Read.
The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen.
Go ahead.
Rejoice.
We trusted in Esau. Go ahead.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom.
That's telling you who he's talking about. Edom, the eagles. All that is all talking about him. Now God named them. Be glad and rejoice because you ruled over my people. You destroyed them, so you go ahead and be glad. But I'm going to get you. Read.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee.
The cup of judgment, so you can understand. Go ahead.
Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked.
And that's what it did to us. We drank the cup of destruction. We drank the cup of slavery, of being castrated, of being raped, family split up. We drank that cup. So now they got to drink the cup. Let's reap what you sow. Read.
The punishment of thy iniquity is
The
accomplished.
punishment of the Israelites' iniquity is coming to an end. Come on.
O daughter of Zion.
The Lord is letting us know who he's talking about. Oh, daughter of Zion, our captivity is over. When we come out of this, that's when you're going to really be free. So the Lord got to kill our enemies in order for us to really be free. Our people really don't get it. Give me Wisdom of Solomon 18:7. I'm coming back here. I know it's more left here. I'm going to come back and read this, but I got to throw this in there. Wisdom of Solomon 18:7. Remember, I'm coming back to Lamentations.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 7. So if thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies, for wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries, by the same thou didst glorify us whom thou hadst called.
So read that again.
The whole thing, Bishop?
Yep, just the top part. That's what I want, just the top part. Read.
So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous.
So our people, we accept the salvation of the righteous, but in order for you to accept the salvation of the righteous, go ahead.
And destruction of the enemies.
We also have to accept that our enemies must be destroyed in order for us to be in salvation. Do y'all understand that? So consequently, in order for them to rule, they have to accept, in order for them to be in their salvation, they must accept your destruction until thou be destroyed. That's the war. That's the war, like the scriptures say. In order for them to enjoy their salvation, because they're in their heaven now. That's why God is talking about, and thou shalt fall from heaven, meaning from their kingdom, from their ruling state. How art thou fallen from heaven? They're in their heaven. They're in their salvation. In order for them to be in their salvation, you must be destroyed. Y'all understand that? Yes, so we have to, in order for them to be in a heavenly state, we must be in hell. And they have to keep it that way. And church is guaranteed to polish your brains to accept that 110% with a leaf on top and a cherry. Go back to Lamentations.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 22. The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom.
He will visit the sins of Edom. What was their sin? For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. That's the book of Obadiah. That's their book. Go ahead.
He will discover thy sins.
He will discover the sins that you did to us when they buck broke us. You black men, they bent you over and buck broke you. That sin, they got to pay for that. When they raped and castrated us, they got to pay for that. When they raped our women, they got to pay for that. When they cut our babies out of our women's stomachs, they got to pay for that. When they did medical apartheid on us, they got to pay for that. When they coaxed our women to aborting their children, they got to pay for that. Giving you soft elevator music while you murder your babies in these rooms with the air conditioning on. Because you got with a man that said he loved you, but because he has no real resources, he couldn't take care of you. Now you got a baby on the way, and you say, I can't afford that baby, get rid of it. Or you're going to be left by yourself with the baby. So here they come with planned death. Ain't no Planned Parenthood at all. What parenthood are they talking about? Planned death. That's what it used to be called, the Negro Project, which was a project of eugenics. That's what the name of Planned Parenthood was before they changed it to the much more soothing euphemism to absolute murder. I'm going to change gears. Give me Revelation. I'm going to read this, then I'm going to play the video. I got to read this here. Read Genesis No, give me Revelation. Revelation 11 and 8. I'm going to read down.
Revelations chapter 11 and verse 8.
Come on, let's move it.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Our dead bodies, we've made us into Negroes and Hispanics, dead to who we really are. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. What kind of lying is it talking about? What kind of laying down are we doing? We're doing nothing. Let's go prove it out. Shall lie in the street of the great city. Because we ain't physically dead. Go ahead. And they shall lie in the street of the great city for what?
Which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt.
This great city is also known as a spiritual Sodom, and it is a spiritual Egypt. That's the Egypt that Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, was talking about. And the Lord shall send you into Egypt again, meaning bondage again, but this time you're going on ships. And that's how we ended up here. They don't want your kids to know none of that in school at all. Trying to disassociate us, talking about some. No, every child should be free from racism and separatism and all of that to get you away from that Bible. But then they treat you like a dog when you go buy a car or a house or whatever. Treat you like garbage when you go inside a store. Treat you like you're some criminal. Your skin is too dark. Mess like that. Go ahead.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
Where also they lied about Jesus. Tens of thousands of our people sitting in these witch covens called churches, where they are administering methadone by the pound, putting them all to sleep. Where also our Lord was crucified. You over there laughing. Where also our Lord was crucified. Hell, the daggone collection plate might as well be the cocaine damn thing they passing through with the vials and with the dope needles on it. I have no respect for the church system at all. I know they can't stand me. I just don't. I just see it as a bunch of complete filth. I have no respect for none of it at all. None. Read that again.
Yes, sir. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt.
Which is a spiritual Sodom. This is lesbian utopia. That's where we're at. Homosexual heaven and paradise. That's where we're at. This is where they come to be free. Talking about a rainbow. They took the symbol of God and attached it to lascivious filth. Go ahead, man.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
Where also our Lord, the truth about Christ, was destroyed. This is the main destruction. Christ wasn't crucified over here physically. That was in Calvary. But But when it comes to the absolute lies about Jesus, it's done right here. Because the Israelites are here. And they must keep us stupid with these churches, with these crack houses, witch covens, methadone clinics. They all the same thing. Dope houses, crack houses. Read.
And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
Stop for a minute. Dead bodies. It says they shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half. When do you actually get to see a dead body 3 days and a half? Never. So this ain't talking about literal dead bodies. And it's not literally talking about 3 days and a half. It's talking about 350 years of our captivity in this country. I know there might be some doubts on that. I love it. But we got the proof. Read.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
And shall not suffer their, suffer means allow. And shall not allow or feel necessary to bury them. Why? Because they are not physically dead. Meaning that they are Negroes. Huh? That's what we are. Necromancy, dead. That's where the term Negro in that sense comes from. Dead people. Like the scriptures say in Proverbs. And the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding, thank you, shall remain in the congregation of the dead. And our people have been taken out of the righteousness of God, out of the understanding of God. So where does that leave us? In the congregation of the dead. That's why they call us Negro. Ain't no such people as Negroes. They named us that. The factory. Where you at? That was verse 9, right?
Yes, sir.
And it shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. So, let's see what we're talking about. Let's get some understanding. The dead bodies, nobody, like I said, nobody watches a dead body for 3.5 days. So the 3.5 represents 350 years. Primarily, this is talking about the years of 1619 to 1969. There's 350 there. What happened in 1969? They went to the moon. And the Lord said, "Thence will I bring ye down, saith the Lord." So that was the time for us to begin the really waking up to this full gospel. Y'all all right? So that's not even the proof I was talking about. There's other scriptures that prove about the times and times and a dividing of times, and other scriptures that clearly proves that this is talking about this time period of us here in this country, literally. Give me Genesis 49. Genesis 49, verse 1.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 1.
Come on.
And Jacob called unto his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days."
So gather yourselves together, the 12 tribes. Jacob, the father, is Israel. He says, "Come unto me, you 12 sons. Gather yourselves together unto me, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days." So our father Israel is speaking to us. Our father Jacob is speaking to us, speaking to the 12 sons. Read.
"Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father."
So he spoke to each son and gave them information that would tell them where Ephraim would be, where Simeon would be, where Benjamin would be, where Gad would be, where Judah would be, where Levi would be, where Zebulun would be. Who's saying this? The Most High. So that's the love. The Most High said, "I'm going to make sure that their book follow them in their captivity. I'm going to make sure that it's translated and everything." A lot of people speak stupid because they don't understand the power behind this Bible. The Most High calls this book, even for the so-called white man to be carrying it, talking about some, yes, the Bible talks about me. And you believe that garbage, but it was all so that we can get it. Y'all all right? Now that the Bible is coming out, now they're trying to get rid of it now. It's too damn late. Y'all all right? That's what these so-called apologetics, they ain't worth spit to me. They say, "Damn, he sound like he hate us." I said, "You ain't worth spit to me. You translate that as hate as you want. God says he hates you. That's good enough for me." Y'all all right? Man said, "What should I do? Should I go kill myself?" When I read them prophecies to his behind, I said, "No, why would I tell you to do something like that? That ain't the Christian thing to do." I said, "But go home and read that Bible anyway. Because every time you read it, that spiritual sword going to tear his ass up. And that's good enough for me." Y'all all right? Where am I at? Yeah, it's torment. Just think about it. Every time, because when the Israelites break this Bible down, don't you realize we're taking chapters away from them? All of the lies that they teach and give our people, the methadone in the churches, when they hear about the scriptures that they can't undo it, and they try hard. They said, "Damn, I can't just black the damn thing out. I can't even use it no more. They done went and educated the damn niggers." That's how they think. Y'all all right? Because once we break this Bible down, the truth is the truth. You can't undo it. Once you go through Obadiah and prove that that's them, they can't touch that book. What you gonna read out of it? "Hey, Mr. White Man, come here." He's running from it because that's them, especially if you know it. Y'all all right? Read.
Verse 3.
No, give me verse 8. So it said gather, because he's all of the tribes. Now it's going to talk about Judah. Y'all all right? Come on.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
Judah. So Jacob is speaking to Judah, the son Judah. He says, thou Judah, you art he whom your brethren, the 12 tribes, are going to praise, because you're going to teach them who they are. That's how the truth came out. It was Judah that showed all of the tribes who they were out this Bible. Here goes these people. The 12 tribes chart came from Ariel. That came from God, nigga.
Right.
And we're reading about it. It ain't no chart either. Chart is something that somebody made up. This is the sign that the Most High talked about in the book of Ezekiel. He told them to write down the tribes. He said, bring the 2 sticks together and make them into one nation. They ain't got nothing to do with Ariel per se. That's the Bible. Read that again.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
We give thanks to the Most High for the Most High putting his spirit on Ariel and all the rest of the brothers that bring this truth out. Like I always say, you ain't never gonna hear me speak against my elders. I'm talking about the elders that taught us. You dig what I'm saying? I'm not that kind of Negro. Because I know you, with your fish eyes, you don't give a damn about our people anyway. The hell I'm going to speak against them for your defense when you wish death on him, all of us. You don't give a damn about Ariel. You don't give a damn about none of us. Bishop Nathaniel, Bishop Kanai, the captains, you don't give a damn about none of us. So what the hell am I going to side with you and speaking against any of my people for? You bastards could drop dead. Read that again.
Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies.
That's us fighting against this vicious vermin. That's what it's talking about. Trying to get some freedoms, quote unquote. Trying to get some rights so we can come out and teach this Bible. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and them brothers, they didn't die in vain. Medgar Evers and them brothers, they didn't die in vain. In the old school, we actually had that picture up. I got the picture. When we went to remodel the school, I said, well, y'all ain't going to throw this away. So I took it with permission. Y'all dig what I'm saying, right? Yes, but we had the poster that had my brother in the school, had drew Malcolm X, had drew Martin Luther King, had drew the different brothers, Medgar Evers and all of that in pencil. And wrote on the, and Yaquab was the one that wrote on the bottom of it. I remember his handwriting. They did not die in vain. So you ain't going to hear me speak evil against my brothers. You can forget that. Where we at?
Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
So the Lord gave the spirit on the elders to teach us his truth, and we are taking it. We understood the work that they did. Getting back to what I was saying before. Those were the brothers that fought in the streets, fighting these cops, fighting off all kind of stuff to teach his word. There were some real wars that went down back then to establish his truth when his truth wasn't known by nobody. Had to fight. We came in, we picked up their spirit, we understood the labor that they put in. And that's the reason why we ain't stopping. We ain't stopping. Too much of my people have died trying to get us here. And you owe some debts. The hell is this? Pop it with your fingers. Talking about some good times. No. Still got work to do. Read.
Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion.
He stooped down and he couched as a lion. Go ahead.
And as an old lion.
They gave us drugs. That's what this is talking about. They put us to sleep with drugs and methadone called Christianity or white supremacy in the churches. They gave us that and killed our brain. We read straight up where Christ is black and we talk about some color don't matter. That's a dead brain. That's a brain injected with the biggest needle of stupidity ever. Go ahead.
And as an old lion.
And as an old lion. Go ahead.
Who shall rise him up?
Who shall rouse him up? That's what's going to happen with the 3 days and a half. Go back to that Revelation. Revelation 11 and 9. Who shall rouse him up?
Revelations chapter 11 and verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
So our people asleep with drugs, sleep with inferiority thinking, teaching, crack in their mind, dead. Go ahead.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Because they're more valuable to me as a worker than they are in the graveyard. They're more valuable to me on my jobs than having them put in physical chains. Go ahead.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall sell gifts one to another.
Because they're rejoicing over us. They're rejoicing over our destruction. That's what we read it. So when it says they shall never, I'm just backing up to verse 9 for a second. And it says, it says, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. The question is, who shall rouse up and wake him up from his dead state? Who's going to wake him up? Who's going to wake up the sleeping giant? Who's going to wake up Israel? Who's going to wake up Judah from its dead state? That's what we was reading in Genesis. Who shall rouse them up? Let's go back to Genesis. Genesis 49 and 9.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up.
Go ahead.
He stooped down. He couched as
He
a
stooped down. He was in the 60s. He was ready to try to get some payback. Try to get some wake up. Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, the brothers, the Panthers. They was trying to get some wake up. Read that again.
He stooped down.
He stooped down.
He couched as a lion.
He couched as a lion. Like he get ready to pounce and win. Go ahead.
And as an old lion.
But he turned into an old lion. Why? Because the drugs came in right after that. COINTELPRO and the rest of it. The war. Murdering brothers. Murdering Malcolm X. Murdering Martin Luther King. Murdering Medgar Evers. Murdering the brothers. Read.
And as an old lion.
And as an old lion, it turned into an old lion that don't even care about history no more. Come on.
Who shall rouse him up?
Who shall wake up this dead man? Judah gonna wake him up. That's what Genesis is talking about. Go back to Genesis. Who shall rouse him up? Who's gonna wake him up? And to him, because Christ's gonna be with us. Christ is behind us. Christ is the one that's doing this. That's what we're about to read. Read that. 9 and 10. Come on. No, I mean the 10th verse. Genesis 49:10.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 10.
This is who's behind Judah.
The scepter.
Or should I say in front of him? Come on.
The scepter shall not.
The scepter, the ruling stick, the king's staff. Go ahead. The scepter.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah. That's the tribe. Go ahead.
Nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Nor shall a lawgiver come from between the feet of Jesus. That shall be the ruler. Go ahead.
Until Shiloh come.
Until Christ come. Christ is the ruler that's going to bring us all out of this captivity with death to our enemies. And I thank God for it. Read.
And unto him.
And unto Christ.
Shall
not some man, hold it. Not some man on earth running around talking about something he's second to Christ. That's a bunch of blasphemous stupidity. And unto Christ
shall the gathering of the people be.
Shall the gathering of the people be. That's who's going to gather the nation of Israel. Christ. That's what we are representing him with his word. We're speaking his word to deliver unto the people, to get them out of that damn clinic called the church, the methadone clinic. With that Christianity dope that got your head pumped up with laughing gas. The hell is this? Now, give me my video. Give me my video. Give me my parts here. I'm going to bring this and I'm going to let this in my class. I'm going to let this in this part of it. Okay? Brothers got me on time constraints. That's all right. They say, y'all stop getting crazy up there. He trying to take us into daggone next week. So now I'm going to lean back. Come on. That thing. Give me this here. Now I was talking about, because there was some other stuff that I want to bring out. Let me just say it like this here. And And I imagine that the next bishops will be teaching on this. Either Bishop Nathaniel or Bishop Kanai. I'm not certain as of yet. But you had a brother, YouTube sensation, I'll say it that way, Brother Kevin Samuels, okay? A lot of people heard of him. A lot of black women hated him. Boy, they said the most evilest stuff about this man now that he's gone. And the only thing he tried to do was clean black folk. He didn't know the Bible now. Y'all all right? And that's a shame. That's a shame. I wish he could have gotten his, from what we understand, he could have got the salvation that the Bible is talking about. But I wish mercy on the brother and his soul. I'll say that much. But the black women hated him because he was telling black women something that they're not used to hearing, because our men have been made weaklings that's scared to tell the truth. And I don't know where this brother got the spirit to come out. And like I said, I don't know him personally, but he had the fortitude, not even going in the Bible, but he realized that there was a big problem in the black community. And every time I heard him, because I listen to him from time to time, some of the stuff people might not get, but what could you really expect? He's not coming out the Bible. But a lot of the stuff that he was saying made perfect sense, And sisters don't want to be told anything. They call that bashing. And I'm like, you know what? Put up some of them clips. I got to do it. Put up some of the stuff that the Negro women have said against this brother. And a lot of these hoes, I shouldn't call them that. But yeah, well, we're going to show it. Just hang on. Y'all got it up there. A lot of them call themselves Christians, but they talk like this. Show it. Give me the, yeah. Let me get that off yet. Get it off. Give me the first one. Come out. Not that one. There was one. Right. Show me that one. You know what? No. You had it right. I'm going to show that one last. Give me another one. Give me the other one. Yeah, let's play that one. This is some sister, some girl, Shanice Taylor Williams. This is what she says. If Kevin Samuels is dead for real, I hope a woman over 35 is responsible. You see the evil that's the evil that we've been trained to do against our own. Will they say this against the man that raped her fathers? The white man. Will they say that about any of the people that raped our mothers, that did all of the evil, all of the ugly history that we've experienced was by the hand of our so-called white oppressor? But here's a brother, because her mindset is set by the Willie Lynch doctrine. And he was challenging that, and she hated it and wished death on the brother. Damn. Give me the next one. Not that one. This one here. Listen to this one here. You got something? Okay. Kevin Samuels is a terrorist, and when a terrorist dies, you rejoice. They call him a terrorist for bringing the Bible, for bringing righteousness to them. Damn. So I imagine Bishop is going to deal with this, so who's ever going to be teaching next? This. It says Kevin Samuels is a terrorist. If and when a terrorist dies, you rejoice. You dance on his grave. You knock down their statues. You spit and piss on his grave. That man promoted violence against black women. When did you hear that? That's a total lie. But that's the scripture. Give me that one scripture and I'm going to end it. Give me Isaiah 30. This is, and I wanted to get to us, because if they have this much hatred for him, you can imagine what they have against us. But these women were trained to be this way against their own men that's trying to save the whole nation. And if they're attacking him like that, imagine how they would deal with us. 30 and 8.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 8. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. That this is a rebellious people.
That this is a rebellious people, come on.
Lying children.
Lying children, come on.
Children that will not hear the law of the Lord.
So when I ain't talking about Kevin now, I'm talking about us. When we bring the Bible, our black women hate to hear the correction out the Bible. They hate us more than they hate this brother here. And amazingly, these same Christians are wishing death on this brother. And ain't tomorrow supposed to be so-called Mother's Day? Imagine how she feels finding out that her son was dead on social media. And they're rejoicing over this man's death, and this black mother has to find out about this. But yet they're Christians. Our people are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge at all. Don't you be fooled a bit. That's why a lot of our people are going to get death. They're going to get it, and they need it. Okay? That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're going to stop there, brothers and sisters. I hope y'all got something out of what I brought out today. And I hope that this was a help to you. I did want to read this part here. There's a brother put up a statement about him. Put that up there real quick, and then we're going to close out. Okay. Contrary to the popular belief, this is written by a brother named Liam Judah. Contrary to popular belief, Kevin Samuels got on black men as well. He damn sure did. Got on black men as well. He just took the message, we just took the message better than the bitter black woman. We will hold these women accountable in your honor. Laugh out loud. I don't know about all that, but you know, the Lord will deal with all of this. But you know, and you know, brothers that try to do something for the nation, whether it's him, whether it's Malcolm, whether it's Martin, you dig what I'm saying? When people try to do good for us, I'm not going to speak evil about the men. You know, so you know, for our women to do that because they got Esau in their mind is really a test of Satan, and how Satan deals. So I'm gonna end it there, but I will be, Lord willing, I want to finish this lesson because there's a whole lot in here about faith and trial and all that I didn't get to. So I'm gonna end it there. So with that, we'll say shalom.